If you want to write a story or a novel that feels engaging, organic, and satisfying to your audience, you need to know about the power of the plant. No, not that kind of plant, but funnily enough, the example I'm going to share with you from the season finale of The White Lotus season 3 does involve a real actual plant, so stick around. Planting in writing is where we plant the seeds of important details near the start of our story that are going to become very important in the end. For example, if our hero is going to defeat the villain with a magical item, you need to have planted this magical item at least a few scenes beforehand, ideally as close to the start as possible. If you don't do that, your readers are going to feel like you just threw that in there for convenience. But if you mention or show this item well in advance, by the time it's used in the end to defeat the villain, it's going to feel very satisfying and organic, which is what you want. So here comes the example from The White Lotus. Spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the finale and you don't want spoilers, save this for later. For the entire third season, the character Saxon is shown as being obsessed with his protein smoothies. And in fact, there's a whole scene early on in the season where he's wrangling a blender so that he can make his protein smoothies in the hotel room. This alone is an interesting detail, like the lengths he would go to get that blender, his obsession with protein and bulking up. But there's a payoff to the plant that comes into play in the finale. So not only is this detail planted at the start, but throughout the season, he's shown blending things, offering smoothies to his brother. We are reminded of it constantly. We never forget. And that is very important because in the final episode, when Timothy decides he's going to eliminate everybody in his family, his instrument of choice is a toxic fruit that's grown in the hotel garden, and you can ingest the seeds and bad things happen. He chooses to blend these in the blender that Saxon procured and serves them to his family as pina coladas. When I saw this payoff, I genuinely got goosebumps because it is one of the best examples of a plant in writing that I have ever seen. So impressive. So in very basic terms, what a plant is a setup and a payoff. The setup is Saxon obsessing over this blender. The payoff is that it is then used for very dire means. What makes it even more satisfying is that that tragic, desperate moment would never have been able to happen if it weren't for the blender. So you can see when things connect like that, when the instruments of our story's climax or conclusion are planted earlier in the story, it's going to feel so organic and so satisfying, and your audience will love it.